I'd love to hear a little bit about what you think this does for collaboration and the ability to connect with other people. It feels like it would really help.
When it comes to collaboration, a good friend of mine, Keith Ferrazzi, he wrote a book called Never Eat Alone back in the day, and he recently wrote a book called Co-Elevation. And he talks a lot about how the future of work is collaborative, the future of work is potentially asynchronous, the future of work is more remote, and that those who are fantastic leaders have an ability to lead from the back rather than the front. And if you look at the two key indicators of leadership efficacy, and this comes from something called the leadership circle profile, the two biggest indicators for leadership efficacy within organizations is vision and teamwork. And so vision, we've already talked a little bit about that. Psychedelics help us to get maybe that 30 to 40 to 50,000 point view. They help with divergent thinking to see how maybe unrelated ideas can come together to form a new cohesive perspective. But at the same time, the sort of energy is there of these can help us to be visionary. They can help us to be courageous. They can help us to think outside the box. And no leader is going at it alone. And so when it comes to collaboration, when it comes to teamwork, our capacity as leaders to be vulnerable, our capacity as leaders to admit to our faults, our capacity as leaders to be aware of our shadows so we don't project those onto our team or onto the people that we're closest with. That is what I believe psychedelics help with so much, is in helping us to expand our awareness of who I am. We see that the way that we communicate, we see that the way that we encourage collaboration, right? So much of that, even though leaders, quote unquote, leading from the back, so much of that still comes from a modeling perspective. And so if we as a leader can model vulnerability, if we can model empathy and compassion, which psychedelics often help with as well, really opening that heart to listen, to be with, and to understand. I've just noticed in my own team, as we started to ramp up over these last few years, when I lead from that place of vulnerability, when I lead from that place of having my heart open, when I lead from that place of admitting when I'm wrong and when I don't know what I'm doing, the humility that comes from that, all of those are skills. All of those are insights and downloads that I've learned from working with psychedelics. And that tends to be at the higher dose, but also at a microdose level. When I had my first microdosing protocol many years ago, one of my core intentions was to help with social anxiety. And so we often find that these lower doses, microdoses, or what we call mini doses, can really help people just speak from the heart, to be open, to be transparent, to communicate well, all of which are necessary and important with any team dynamic. Because the more that we keep hidden, the more that we keep repressed, the more that we keep behind doors, I think the more likely there is that something's going to come and bite us, or that there's going to be an unhealthy or toxic team dynamic. It really is important to come in with full awareness if we want to be more collaborative and work together.
I think that tracks. And as you were kind of listing the different benefits there, I was thinking of the group flow triggers that are outlined by Keith Sawyer, right? And it sounds like psychedelic tools have the potential to mitigate some of those group flow blockers. So really better enabling or facilitating blending of egos, trust, open communication, and obviously building clarity in vision. Because without vision, we
don't know where we're going.
Right. We can't leverage any kind of collective ambition, which is just a key driver of group flow.